Tonight's live breastfeeding Q&A, I have a guest. We have a guest with us. How wonderful. Yay. We always love to have wonderful people. And this is definitely one of my favorites that I met this past year. This is Amanda from Rumina Nursingwear, who is our sponsor of tonight's show. So I want to bring Amanda on so she can say hi to everybody. And she's going to join us in 1 second as soon as I get this going here. And we're going to chat with you and answer all your questions. Hi, Laura. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to on mic and unmute, and then let's hope this is working. And then I'm going to split the screen. Look at me, I am doing it. Woohoo! Hi, Amanda.
Hi, guys. Hi, Shari. How are you?
I'm so good. I'm so happy to have you doing this with me tonight. I'm thrilled.
Well, thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited too. A little nervous, but I'm excited. So it'll be fun.
No, you know, there's so many awesome people in the chat right now, and I'm looking at all their faces, and I'm like, there's so many great people. All we can do is feel complete love. Let's get lots of hearts in the chat room for Amanda, who this is her first time broadcasting live on Facebook. Well, actually, no, this is not your first time. We did this at ABC together.
That's true. That's true. But it was a spur of the moment, jumped in. I really didn't have to think a lot about it. So yeah. I guess you're right. I should feel like a pro now.
Right. You're a pro. This is not your first. Oh, look at all the hearts. Everybody's giving you love.
Oh, good. Thank you, guys.
Lots and lots of love. Everybody say hi to Amanda. Amanda is the co-owner of Rumina Nursingwear that makes these fabulous nursing bra and tank. They're bras and tanks that you can pump with, and that you like hands-free pumping and also breastfeed with. And I just think they're amazing. And the way that they're designed, which we're going to talk about, but just how useful to be able to do both at the same time. And Amanda and I met when we were in Las Vegas this past October. Oh my God, October already. And I was just like, this is so great. And I'm so glad that we're working together.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
Awesome. Well, everybody is joining. There's lots of people in the chat. We've been going strong all week, Amanda. We had a fabulous Q&A. No, it was a live show on Wednesday night. We broke records Wednesday night with the amount of people that had jumped in, because I guess everybody out there has a fussy baby and needed to know what to do. And yeah, lots of fussy babies. Lots of fussy babies. Did everybody like Wednesday night's live show? Did you like the live show on Wednesday night? Wasn't that great? I got done and I was like, I literally like fell back on the couch. It was one of those moments where, you know, you get the adrenaline, you keep going, and I can talk for a long time. And then it just like, I was so tired after that because I was talking the entire time. It was a little
good. So I'll just hand it over to you and make sure that you're the spotlight. So if you need anything from me, I'll just jump in when needed.
Absolutely. No, you know, we're gonna answer a bunch of. There's so many questions that came in, like as if I'm surprised, because my audience is just like, dun dun dun, like they've got a lot of questions they want to know, you know. And so there's been so many questions. I printed out. I'm like, okay, let me go ahead and just print the list and the list of questions that people have been posting on my wall, and I got like, I mean, I'm not kidding. There's like 8 or 10 pages here worth of questions. So we're going to get to as many as we can tonight, but you know, if I don't get to all of them, you know, we'll make up for it and we'll keep on going. Yeah, if you missed Wednesday night, someone's commenting here, go back and watch the replay. It was very good. And then I also, did anybody see the burping video that I put up last night? Did anybody see that? Yeah, it's kind of going viral right now. It's kind of crazy. What kind? Joe said kind of. Yeah, no, it's like being shared over and over again. And I've been waiting to do this burping video because I have a technique for burping that I've been teaching my students forever. And, you know, it's one thing to like hold a doll and show how to do it, which I've done here on the live shows, but it's a whole other thing to actually see it with a live baby. And so one of my clients let me film her baby, cute little Shayna, and I did the burping, and then we put a little video together and put it out today, and it's doing great. So any comments on the burping video? What? Adrian's comment? Where's Adrian? Showed my hub. Oh, there's Adrian. Okay, showed my hubby the burping video. He's scared to pat her back. It worked well. Awesome. Yeah. You know what? What? Okay, awesome. Yeah, they're loving the burping. People are like, really? Baby burps like that? And then they try it and they're like, oh my God, that really works. That really works. It is. It's a game changer. Well, you're right.
You're getting a lot of love about the burping video, for sure.
It's a good video. It's a good video. Can we get some hearts for burping? Come on, like the simplest thing. But honestly, like burping is one of those things that like, it seems like a simple little thing in life, but if you don't know how to do it or you don't know how to help your baby do it, it could cause a lot of misery for the entire family. So, yeah, it's a game changer. It's a game changer. Get them done quick, know when to do it. Those are the signs we talked about. Yes, all those things. So,
well, and I missed it. So, and I know people are asking, but it's on your video, on your Facebook page, your videos, yeah. Right?
I actually pinned it right to the top of my page so that anybody could find it easily. If you're looking for it, it's pinned right to the top if you go on there. So, so tonight I'm drinking, I have a new drink. We've decided to start switching up the flavors a little bit. For everybody who knows me, they know that I'm not drinking wine because if this was wine, even this one glass, and I drank this, I would never be able to finish and talk these questions. So we don't do that, but we like to drink out of a wine glass because it's very fancy and very fun. And tonight I have a peach flavored drink, and Amanda's drinking water, and she'll know next time to get something a little more fun.
Yeah, I will. Now that I know, I will definitely do it.
Sorry, that was my mistake for not giving you the heads up on the, but that's fine. That's totally fine. So before we start, I would love for everybody to get to know you the way I have, and just let you, tell us a little bit about how you started and how Rumina came to be, and like tell us your story.
Okay, well, I'm a co-owner, and so my sister, mother, and I all own Rumina Nursingwear. And my sister is actually the founder and really the designer, and had the passion back probably, I think we're now 6 years. So about 9 years ago, she started breastfeeding. And she was struggling, just like so many moms out there, trying to figure out how to make it work. And back about 9 years ago, she decided to try pumping because she had to work and go back to work and wanted to breastfeed and continue to breastfeed. So she grabbed a couple of pumping garments out there. They were all the bustier style at the time. And she realized her body didn't quite fit the holes. She had to go work at an office space to find a little room, a little closet to go in, undress, put this bustier on to be able to just pump. It was just not working. So about 9 years ago, she put pen to paper and literally just started sketching out designs for a hands-free pumping tank. The tank was kind of our first product and concept, because she wanted something fully covered. She didn't want to feel like her body was kind of just out there, and she wanted to feel covered. She didn't want to constantly have to worry about changing in and out of things. And really, it was awesome to kind of see her passion grow and grow and grow for really what did it mean to have products that help you as breastfeeding moms succeed. And when she was developing these, it took about 3 years from the time she started to actually the first production run of the tanks, to go through all of the concept prototypes and designs. And when she asked me if I would be involved, I didn't have kids at the time. I just graduated, and this was definitely not something my degree was in. But to see her passion and her love for really what she was investing so much of her heart and energy to. I know she's been that champion for me in the past, and it was really my time to be her champion. And I was definitely jumped at the opportunity to work with her. And so, fast forward now, Rumina's been established now for 5 full years. We have 2 tank tops, 3 crossover bras. We just released a strapless bra, and we're coming out with 2 new garments in the next year to add to our collection, because there's moms, every body is unique. Every woman has a need out there, and to just have one product that moms have to fit into universally just doesn't make sense. So.
No, everybody's different. It's so true. Everybody's different. And not only just different moms, but like as you progress through your breastfeeding experience, there's different needs that you have, that maybe right when you first have the baby, you need a certain type of style. And then as you go back to work, it may be something else that you need. So even for the same woman. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And it would be like us trying to have one pair of jeans out there that every woman has to try to get into and fit and wear. And that just isn't realistic. And we want to create products that there'll be something for all moms, and to meet all of their expectations, something simple, something comfortable, something convenient. So that's really the core principles of Rumina.
Well, I know that my audience here absolutely loves this concept. And, if you haven't seen the tanks and the bras and what they do, the best part about them is that, like Amanda was saying, a lot of what's out there are bustiers, that go over the nursing bra, and they're impossible to nurse with. So if you want to nurse and pump at the same time, that's impossible to do. If you wanted to do any breast compression while you're pumping, which a lot of moms need to do, be able to get access to the breast so that you can compress the ducts. I know for me, when I was pumping for my children, I needed to do compression while I was pumping, and that was really hard to do with any kind of a hands-free strapless thing that would go over my bra. So you kind of had to do it from the top and like stick your hands underneath and, rig it up somehow. But this really is different. And even when we see some of the pictures of being able to put the pump on one side and be able to move the bra aside very easily and latch the baby, for so many of you guys, we've talked about like when are the best times to pump. And typically, one of the best times to pump is while you're nursing, because that same what causes your milk to let down is the same thing when your baby's nursing. It's triggering that hormone, that oxytocin release in your brain that helps the milk to eject from the breast. And so sometimes it can be hard to do with a machine. Sometimes it can be hard to stimulate your body with the pump the way the baby can. And so pumping while you're nursing is a great time.
And I suggest to do that when the baby's young enough so they don't really know the pump's there, because as your baby starts to get older, then they're going to be really curious about the pump and why is this competing with me? And
you want them getting used to that other thing that's there. You're right. I didn't even think of that. That's true. That's true. At one point, they're very possessive of how they want it, right?
Yeah. So start early. Start young and early is my best advice for that.
Well, we talk
But
about like when's the best time to start pumping for your baby, and we're not talking about like full pumping sessions or like fully expressing all the milk out of the breast or full bottles, but pumping a tiny little bit of milk into the bottle within the first 1 or 2 weeks after delivery, starting to introduce the baby to a bottle if all is going well with breastfeeding will help the baby to adjust to bottle feeding later, especially if you're going back to work. And that's the best time for that is like first thing in the morning. And what I love is the idea that you could latch the baby to one breast, and it's typically when you have the most amount of milk. Latch the baby to one side and put the pump on the other, but you can kind of forget about that pump because the bra or the tank is holding the flange in place. You can focus on your baby.
Yep, exactly. And I think in the first couple weeks too, sometimes you're still getting used to that latch and you're still getting used to that hold. And once you get that flange inserted, it's comfortable, it's pumping. You're right. You don't have to mess with it. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to hold it. You can sit there and help baby. You can sit there, hold baby, and still connect with baby while you're pumping. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, awesome. That's really awesome. Let's do a couple of questions, and then we're going to come back to the tank and the bra because I want you to show them some of the features. I've also got one here too. So, I love this. So I'll be able to show you as well on my mannequin. But I do have a ton of questions that we need to get to. So let's start answering some of their questions. And what I'm going to do is change the screen a little bit right now. And Amanda's going to be in the chat room with you guys. She'll also be on the screen here. We'll be able to come back to her if she has something to offer. Please offer if you have something to offer. Amanda's also been a breastfeeding mom herself. I don't think you talked about that a little bit, so if you want to, you can.
Yeah, I have 3 kids. I have a 13-year-old stepson, a 3-year-old little boy, and then a 13-month-old girl. And my 3-year-old, I was working for Rumina at the time that I had my son. So I thought, oh gosh, I know about those booby traps. I know how to set myself up for success. I got this. I can nurse. And when I got into it, everything went out the window. And I struggled. And I even had resources to reach out to. But being the first time mom, I was just so overwhelmed with so many other things. I don't know if it was emotion, stimulation, feeling like I was not getting it. And so I ended up exclusively pumping with my son. So I have that background of exclusive pumpers.
You have a lot of people here who are exclusively pumping too, so they can relate.
Yeah, and kudos to you guys. It's dedication and it's work, but I think the reward is knowing you're giving your little one the best. And really, you guys, it's amazing. So exclusive pumpers, kudos to you.
I think we need a ton of hearts for all the exclusively pumping moms out there, because as Amanda just said, breastfeeding is hard. Bottle feeding is hard too. Not as hard as breastfeeding in the beginning, but it does, breastfeeding does get easier with time. The hardest thing to do is to exclusively pump and feed your baby. And I totally get and I honor anyone who puts that effort into doing that and who has that kind of commitment. There's a reason that you have that commitment, and I just want to give a lot of gratitude to those moms because it's a lot of work, and yet they're just so committed to what they're doing with their children. So they deserve all the hearts. I'm giving you tons of hearts. I can't do that for my screen here, but we get it.
I'm trying. There you go. I sent a heart too. Yep. Exclusive pumpers. Yep. So with my 13-month-old, when I had her, I felt like, okay, I had gotten this. I know now what I had problems with. I was a low supply. I was a low supply, and I really didn't reach out to IBCLCs in the area, didn't really ask for more support. So this next time around, I was like, okay, I'm going to do it different. And we still struggled. I can remember counting each day. Okay, we made it past day 5. We made it past day 8.
How many of you guys
can
relate to this? I mean, I know there's a lot of people who can relate, and some of you guys who are sitting there, they're actually going through exactly what you're describing right at this moment. And if you're getting nothing else, just to know that you are so not alone. And I'm relating to so much of what you're saying with my own experience, which many of them have heard. But yeah, keep going. I know that they're listening and going, yeah, that's me right now.
Because you mentioned something, you mentioned that breastfeeding gets easier over time. And I knew that in the back of my mind. But when I was bleeding, I was hurt, I was so lack of sleep, I felt like I didn't know how to help my baby have a better latch. It was literally just counting each day and going, okay, it'll get better. It'll get better. I was getting on community boards and moms were saying sometimes it didn't get better for them for like 2 months, 3 months. So I just kept it one day at a time. And I can remember day 14 was the last day I remember counting. And then after that, I kind of lost track of the day by day pushing through.
Yeah.
And so we're still breastfeeding at 13 months.
Wonderful.
But it wasn't easy. It was not an easy.
And you know, not everybody struggles with breastfeeding. Some moms baby goes right to it and everything's fine. But I'll tell you right now, as a nurse midwife, as a lactation consultant, I've been a lactation consultant now for over 10 years. And watching thousands of moms breastfeed, most moms have some issue. Those issues are different from one person to the next. The issue could be difficulty with latch and position. The issue can be low milk supply. The issue can be oversupply. The issue can be a sleepy baby. An issue can be a baby that never sleeps. So there's, it comes in all shapes and sizes, and really everybody struggles. And I think it's just one of those things where it's more rare to just have no issues at all. But I think by saying that, what I want to convey is that because you're struggling in the beginning, because it feels like, oh my God, this is the hardest thing I've ever done, that's just having a baby. And when you've never had a baby before, I don't think anybody can explain to you how hard it is to actually go through it. And for my own journey, Joe and I have talked about it. I had been in the field for 12 years. I had delivered almost 600 babies before I had my first as a midwife. And so I thought I would at least understand what it would be like, because I had seen people go through it. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about like labor and birth. Like I'm talking about postpartum, breastfeeding. Like I had seen it, but it's still not the same to experience it. And it hit me like a wall. Like I remember it was just one of those wake up moments in your life where you go, oh my God, this is what they have been doing. And I didn't know. Like I just you can't get it till you get it. And I say that to all of you. I'm seeing a bunch of people here in the chat that I know just had their babies like recently, like within the last few weeks. And I know what you're going through, and I just want you to know that it does get better. It gets better. And you forget. So as much as you do, as much as it feels not so great right now, you won't remember probably the worst parts. And you know that because people wind up going back for more. That's what I always say. Like if it was really that bad, we wouldn't do it again and again and again. It's well worth it. So thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, and every breastfeeding relationship's different. Your baby number 1 you're gonna have a completely different experience with baby number 2, baby 3, 4. I think that it's just something that develops. I think Brooke Fisher, I saw her saying that it's a new relationship and you just got to give it time to develop. And every child's that way. So
totally, totally. Awesome. Okay, well, let's answer some of their questions because, okay, so like, you know, we've got 1 week olds, we got 6 week olds, 7 week olds, okay, we've got 3 week olds. Look at all these little tiny new ones, okay, that they need their questions answered. And first of all, I want to know, are there new people in the house with us tonight? Because I don't know, there's been like, I don't know, 7,000 new people to my page just in the past like 30 days. And it's crazy, like so many new people coming in. Our chats have been new people, and I want to just welcome anybody new right now because we have an amazing community, and our moms here just are so supportive of each other. And what we're doing is really just trying to offer great advice and a safe place. And so anybody new, you can just post right here, you're new. Hi, Melissa, you're new. And you have a question, don't you, Melissa? I saw you do have a question. I'm going to answer Melissa's question right now to honor her for joining our chat for the first time tonight. Yes, sweetheart, we're going to answer your question right now. Okay, so let me, oh, my screen just went off. Hold on, technology. Let's see how I do that. Okay, so I'm using an iPad next to me, which I've never used for my live chats here. And I need to figure out how to, oh, it locked itself. Okay, give me 1 second, guys. Hang on, because if I can't see your hearts and I can't see your comments, it drives me nuts. You know, it doesn't really mean I can't speak, but, you know, I need to see them. I need to see them. So I'm going back there. Hold on, everybody, hang on. Here we go. Look how fast I am. It's terrible. Okay. So this is the rule on our page. So for anybody new, what's the rule for all you guys who've been here before, what's the rule when I answer a question, when we're done answering a question, what do we do? What do we do? We have a delay, so I'm going to give them a second. I'm going to find Melissa's question too while we're doing this. Let's see. All these pages got all mixed up, so hold on. Oh, there it is. Okay, Melissa asked a very long question, okay? Is this right? Let me see, Melissa, there you go. Okay. So, yes, we do hearts. See, everybody knows what to do. When we ask a question, we're giving hearts to the mama who asked it, then we give hearts to the mama who's answering it over here. And lots of love for everybody, lots and lots of hearts. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the screen view, okay, Amanda, so I'm going to be changing this right now. And there we go. Okay, now let's see if that worked. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. They know what to do. All right. I'm waiting to see on the screen if it changed. When I start, oh, there we go. Okay, can you see the change right there? It just changed over. So now I'm talking, Amanda's down at the bottom. She's gonna be in the chat with you guys while we go through a bunch of questions, all right? So Melissa said she has had a difficult journey breastfeeding. She's now over 10 weeks into breastfeeding, and she still doesn't seem to be producing enough for her daughter. She's tried fenugreek, feeding constantly, pumping a lot, Gatorade, mother's milk tea, and more. When I do pump, I'm lucky to get an ounce total between both breasts when the last feeding was 2 hours prior. I know that they say that the baby gets more from the breast than the pump can, but she will pull off when she empties me and cries and refuses to breastfeed any longer, but is still hungry. She wasn't gaining weight at a steady pace, so I've been giving her an ounce or two of formula to keep her happy. What else can I do to get my supply up there? I can't even build up storage for the freezer. Also, how can I tell if I'm not producing enough hind milk? Her stool is constantly green when we breastfeed, and when I pump, there seems to be very little hind milk. Any advice would be appreciated. I've had several lactation consultants and currently have a hospital-grade pump. Nothing seems to help. So for now, we're breastfeeding and formula feeding. Okay, lots of different questions involved here, okay? But let's just take it from the first part. the first part here that you kind of answered for yourself, which is, you know, how I'm only able to pump 1 ounce between feedings, okay, or 2 hours after the last feeding. And so she's not able to get more milk out. There are multiple reasons that can cause a low milk supply. And the majority of those reasons are a result of a couple of different things. Usually it's a result of improper latch and position right in the beginning, or infrequent feedings in that first week after delivery. So that kind of can set you up for a decreased supply throughout your experience until you do something to change that, all right? But it can be like a vicious circle where, you know, you start off supplementing, or you start off questioning your supply when the baby's really only eating small amounts in the beginning. And that right there, that early introduction of supplementation or scheduling your feedings, that kind of stuff can really impact your milk supply. So that being said, that's one thing. Yes, there are some people, it's a very small percentage of the population that does have a milk supply issues caused by hormonal situations like PCOS, a thyroid condition, things like that. Those can cause low milk supply, but again, small parts of the population. And then there are very small parts of the population that have insufficient glandular tissue, where their breasts really just don't have the milk making tissue to make enough. Typically you can tell that and see that in someone's breast. They have more of a tubular shape to them. They have more spacing between the breasts. You may notice that you didn't have a lot of breast growth during the pregnancy, or not a lot of breast growth even during puberty. Like, this is something that you can see throughout your lifetime. Most of those people with insufficient glandular tissue can have that issue. Now, that doesn't mean that just because you have larger breasts, that's not a problem. It could be a lot of fatty tissue in there and still have a problem with glandular tissue. Melissa's commenting here that she does have a thyroid issue. And so I don't know, Melissa, if anyone's checked your thyroid levels, because sometimes the docs are not completely like tuned into the things that are going to impact your breastfeeding, you know, and especially when it comes to thyroid issues, what some doctors would consider normal, like normal levels, and I'm going to get a little technical here for 1 second. Okay, just so that for Melissa, she knows what to ask for. You need to get your TSH checked. Okay, that's the thyroid stimulating hormone. And that thyroid stimulating hormone, it has a very big normal range. Some people who are at the higher level of that normal range actually are not normal. I don't mean you're not normal, but the levels are not normal. And so you need to be taking thyroid medication if you have hypothyroid. I'm assuming you mean you have a hypothyroid. It is more common to have that. That's a decreased amount of thyroid hormone that you're producing. And so that could be, I would start there. The fact that, you know, we just picked up on one of the main issues that can cause decreased supply, and you're saying, yes, I had that, and you're going to have it rechecked on Monday, she's saying. Okay, so I think that's a very important place. Yes, hypo. I'm repeating her. She's saying, yes, hypothyroid. This is a very important place for you to start with that, okay? Now, that being said, you know, it becomes a combined issue. So what might be, and it could be that it's the hormonal issue that caused the low milk supply, but then the supplementation that followed, because you're not making enough, can further create more of a supply issue, because now you're not necessarily in sync with the baby. The baby needs more milk, you're pumping less milk, and your body's responding to making less, or you're feeding less or pumping less. So it could be a combined situation right now. To keep it simple and to really give you good advice, my best advice is exactly what you just said, which is see your doctor on Monday, have your thyroid levels checked, try to see if you could talk to your doctor about being more on the lower range of normal for your TSH, okay? Normal TSH is about 0.4 to about 5, which is a huge range. Some people don't feel well and they're completely hypothyroid at levels of 4, which is still within normal, but it's not good for you. You might need to be between 1 and 2 to feel well and to be making good milk supply. All right, so that's the first thing to do. As far as everything else, when it comes to the fact, are you making enough hind milk? If you're not making enough milk, okay, then you're definitely making enough hind milk. Let me explain that a little bit further. The way hind milk and foremilk work, when the breast is really, really full, and this is for everybody, okay? So it's not just for Melissa. Melissa has this particular question, but I'm answering it for everybody. When the breast is really, really full, the milk that is initially coming out is more watery. It's more watery, it's less fat. That's what we would call foremilk, okay? When the breast is then drained, what comes out next is the hind milk, okay? The higher fat milk, the creamier milk, okay? When the breast is not that full, it's all hind milk. There is no foremilk, hind milk, okay? So we don't even think about it when the breast is not that full. That means that first thing in the morning, you wake up, the breast is full. Yes, maybe there's some foremilk, and it's supposed to be that way. You got to think about it. Your body changes throughout the day because the baby needs more hydration. So maybe that's why there's more water first thing in the morning. That's fine. But then as the day progresses and your supply starts to drop a little bit, your breasts are not as full, your baby may be more, cluster feeding into the evening hours, like dinner time, early evening, which you all know what I'm talking about. The baby wants to eat. When you're trying to have dinner, they want to eat like every hour. You do have less milk, but that milk is different because that milk is very high fat. And so even though the volume that they're taking in may be less, the amount of calories that they're getting is higher, and that important fat that they need for their brain development is part of that milk later on in the day. Okay, so for you, Melissa, in this question about, you're already struggling with the idea of not making enough milk, or you're concerned about that, I would put hind milk, foremilk out of your mind. That's not your issue, okay? You don't, and nobody really needs to think about it unless you're completely oversupplied and you're switching sides too quickly and the baby's never getting enough to the point where the baby's eating but not gaining weight, okay? Then we can start talking about issues with hind milk, foremilk. Other than that, I want you guys to not really think about hind milk, foremilk too much, okay? Because just like anything when it comes to breastfeeding, if you can't see what's happening, like if you can't see when it actually makes the switch from hind milk to foremilk in your breast, because you can't when the baby's latched on, then you're not supposed to know. That's my take on it. And I have some very simple opinions about things when it comes to breastfeeding, but I think we tend to overanalyze. And when we overanalyze and try to create answers for unanswerable things, like, how can I tell you when it's switched to hind milk? Who cares? Okay, feed your baby. Baby's eating, baby's satisfied, baby's peeing and pooping and gaining weight. There is nothing to question at that point, okay? We always joke because, Amanda, we talk about this, the idea that if you needed to know how much your baby's eating, because this is like one of the questions that even the pediatricians will ask moms, like, well, how much is the baby eating? As if, first of all, looking at the clock and telling you how long the baby's been on will tell you how much, or, somehow you're supposed to know how many ounces, and you'll have moms who start pumping just so they know that the baby's getting enough. And this is very common. If you needed to know that the baby was getting a certain amount, you'd have a little gauge on your breast, just like this, okay, that would tell you empty and full, and like the graduations on a bottle, like 1 ounce, 2 ounces. This is all bottle feeding, and it is just completely unnecessary to think about when it comes to breastfeeding. My program, on breastfeeding is called Simply Breastfeeding, and how I came up with that is because we want to make it as simple as possible. It's when we start complicating it that we start to create issues that we don't need to create. So Excellent question. Very long answer, as always. Very long answer, but hopefully that helped Melissa. I think it did. And let's get some hearts for Melissa and for the questions and for anybody out there who just learned something very important for themselves right now. I would like to see some hearts going across that screen, like flying across that screen. Let's fill the whole screen with hearts right now. While I take a sip of my peachy drink. There we go.
Well, and I think that when you say moms kind of get caught up in this, knowing exactly how much baby is eating, it's part of that kind of instant gratification world we're in. The knowledge is at our fingertips all the time on our phones, and taking that completely out of the equation leaves us, I think, a little bit just crazy, nervous that we don't know what's going on, and that's scary as a mom. You don't know how much they're eating, and you don't know if they're doing well until their next baby wellness check, and if they're growing and if they're thriving, that's good, but that could be a week, 2 weeks, from each check. So it's scary sometimes to just let go and have faith that it's working like it's supposed to.
Well, what you don't want to do is you're not necessarily letting go and just not thinking about it, okay? But the point is that there are ways to tell that your baby is thriving and doing well. And those are not based on the ounces of milk that they're drinking. Okay, it's not how long did your baby spend on the breast. And so when we try to quantify it with like the baby's doing 20 minutes on each side, and you've all heard this before, like especially in the hospital, it starts on day one. I mean, like in the hospital, the nurse will come in and they'll say, well, how long did you nurse on each side? And they need to write something down. Okay, that did not tell you anything about how much milk was transferred into that baby. Okay, and the crazy part is that as your baby grows and gets older, those feedings get shorter and shorter. And so if we were looking at it to use time to quantify how much our babies were getting, that's where the questions come in. And there's probably like 3 of them in my pile right here that, my baby's only latching for like 5 minutes and not getting enough because it used to be a lot longer, and now I just can't keep the baby on, and then the baby cries when I try to go back to the breast. Yeah, the baby's crying because they're full and done, and you keep forcing them back to the breast. And then when they don't stop, when they're crying, everybody thinks, oh, I'm not making enough. So they take a bottle with some formula or some pump milk, and then they shove the bottle into the baby's mouth and pour an extra ounce or 2 on top. And the baby falls into a coma, and they go, see, it wasn't enough. See, they were hungry. Okay, and then they sleep for 4 hours, and they don't wake up frequently enough to go back to the breast to stimulate that expression again and keep the milk supply going. And this is where we can fall into real traps. And that, I just answered like 3 of the questions just now. So if that was your question or some form of it, then you know who you are there. And if you didn't ask the question but you're thinking it, yeah, I mean, babies who are full and at the breast, they will cry if you keep forcing them and they don't want anymore. Sometimes they need to burp. Sometimes they're just done. Sometimes they, if you've got an oversupply and they can't control that from not eating more, they will push away. They will push away because they're done. And we want them to do that. That is the whole point when it comes to breastfeeding. It's so much more than the milk. The whole act of breastfeeding is so much more than just the milk. It is also about the teaching babies and allowing them to understand when they're full, for their brains to register fullness, to be able to control and stop when they're not hungry anymore. We want that for our children as we get older. I know Many of us have that issue where we don't know when we're full, that we'll just keep on eating, right? How many of you have that issue? I can raise my hands. And so we want that to develop in our children, is to understand I eat till I'm not hungry. And then I know that when I'm hungry again, I can eat in an hour and I'll eat again, versus eat till you're stuffed and get used to that feeling of feeling stuffed. And oh, that means I'm not hungry. All right. It brings up a really good point, because when we look at babies that are bottle fed, okay, and I'm talking bottle fed with pumped breast milk or formula, either way, okay, we have to be very careful about how we feed our babies with the bottle, because although at the breast, unless you have a huge oversupply and the milk is just like pouring out and choking the baby, which is not everybody, with the bottle, you can overfeed your baby. And studies have shown that babies that are bottle fed do have higher risks of obesity. And what they found was that it's not just formula feeding, but it's pumped milk in a bottle as well. And how you can prevent that with your baby and kind of simulate, as best as possible to what they would be doing at the breast, is to do something called paced feeding with your bottles, okay? That means really paying attention to how you're feeding your bottle-fed baby, not only when you're doing it, but especially if you're leaving your baby with somebody to watch them while you're going back to work, caregivers, daddies, grandmas. Paced feeding is super important. I think we're going to do a whole session just on paced feeding and how to do that properly, but just little tips, things, what it means to pace your feedings is to really watch how you are allowing the baby to control the feeding. That means not laying the baby down like that and holding the bottle up. So in a feeding that's not paced, the baby's horizontal and the bottle is vertical. Okay? In a paced feeding, the baby is vertical and the bottle is horizontal. Okay, that's a really good way to like picture that in your mind, that the baby should be upright and the bottle should be horizontal, so that there's not so much pressure of all that milk in the bottle forcing into the baby's mouth, okay? You also want to introduce the nipple of the bottle slowly to the baby, like, rub the nipple on their lips and let them open and latch to it the way that they would with the breast, instead of just shoving it in their mouth. I'll give them breaks and allow them to eat a little and then stop, or even tilt the bottle to where there's no milk in the nipple anymore, so they can take breaks the same way that the breast does, where, the breast has multiple letdowns that occur. So the milk will let down, the baby will gulp, you'll hear all that gulping, and then they'll start sucking, but they're not really eating until they can stimulate that next letdown or take breaks throughout the feeding. They can't do that with a bottle if it's constantly pouring in. So I'm going to talk more about paced feedings, but if you're not doing that right now, I highly encourage you to do that with your babies and learn about that. We're going to do a whole session. Coming up in the next, we're just starting it this year, we're going to be doing a weekly pumping, breastfeeding, little education sessions, little mini sessions during the day, once a week, with even flow feeding, where I'm going to be picking topics like this, and we're just going to go through some really great information having to do with pumping and bottle, paced feedings and everything having to do with breastfeeding and pumping. So let's get some hearts for that. Yay. Yay. Look at all this great information. Are you guys learning something? Are you enjoying this? I don't know. I just let my mind take me wherever it's taking me. The questions are leading us to all this great information. I know I'm not getting through all these, but I think we're getting through a lot, even if I'm not answering specific questions here. Yes, look at all the hearts. Excellent. Excellent. Hi, Jessica. Okay. So let's answer another question here before the night ends, and I didn't get to any of these here. Let me see. Let's pick one that we did not talk about yet. Okay, so Emily asked the question, if I pump 5 to 6 ounces in one session, if I left the bottles at room temperature, can I pump directly into those same bottles at my next session to fill the bottles? Okay, sometimes, so this is a perfect example of sometimes the question that you're asking is actually not the answer that you need. So we're going to reframe this question just a little bit to get you more on track versus saying, yeah, you could pump into those bottles and fill them up to 9 ounces, okay? Get what I'm saying, Amanda?
Yep.
Okay, good. Because every other mama who's listening to this right now is going 5 to 6 ounces, and then you want to fill the bottles. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? Okay, there's nothing wrong with you. Obviously, Emily's got a nice, healthy supply of milk, and all that pumping and continuing to pump is going to keep increasing her supply, and that's not necessarily what she needs, all right? We don't need to be making that much milk at a sitting. 5 to 6 ounces is good. And if you're making more than that, most breastfed babies are going to eat somewhere around 3 to 4 ounces at a feeding. Now, I'm not saying that your bottle-fed, pumped, milked baby is not taking 5 ounces when they're fed, but what I'm saying is at the breast, they most likely will not take more than 4 ounces. And so what we just talked about a minute ago with paced feeding, if you slow down those feedings, if you start to really stop them, you will probably see that somewhere around 4 ounces is about what they will take. And that's for the whole year. Okay, that like hits around 4 ounces, somewhere around 3 months old, sometimes 6 weeks old, and it never changes throughout the year. You're never going to those 8, 9 ounce bottles. That's formula. Okay,
I wouldn't have thought that. Even daycare kind of makes you feel like, oh, well, they're not eating that much. They're only having 3 to 4 ounces at a time. And so, yeah, I would have never thought for the whole first year, that's all they would need.
That is it for the whole first year. And that's why you're not making more and more and more. Think about it. And this is where sometimes the anticipatory fear that comes up for moms where they say, you know, okay, so great. So I'm pumping 4 ounces now. The baby's 3 months old. But what am I going to do? I can't pump any more than this. What am I going to do when they're 8 months old or 9 months old and they need a lot more milk? And my answer is they never need more. In fact, the first 6 months is when you make the most amount of milk because they're not getting solid foods. Okay? Once you hit the 6-month mark, you're never making more than the same amount of milk per feeding, but you're doing less feedings because the baby's also taking solids. That's why you see your breast go down in size. After about the 6-month mark, you usually have some shrinkage of your breast because you're actually making less milk. Maybe not at the feeding, but overall for the 24 hours. So these 8 or 9 ounce bottles can be kind of misleading and even intimidating for a pumping mom because, you know, 3 ounces in a 9 ounce bottle looks like nothing. And like Amanda, like what you just said about, you know, I'm leaving these tiny little, and I'm giving these to the daycare and the other babies are drinking these big bottles and I'm leaving these little scrawny amounts. My recommendation is to use small bottles. If you're planning to breastfeed or pump, you really don't need more than the 5 ounce, the little 5 ounce containers, like the ones, you know, that come with the pump right here. Like this is Even Flow. That's 5 ounces. It's not very big. It's not very big. Okay. Now somebody just asked the question, you know, I get 6 ounces, but in her first morning pump. Okay. Great. That's wonderful. All right. I wouldn't expect to see that throughout the whole day, but you know, first thing in the morning is when you make the most, and that's fine to pump extra at that time. I would say that the question here from Emily where she's saying, can she pump directly into the same bottles at the next session to fill the bottles? I would not do that because then the temptation will be there to feed more than that at a feeding. Remember that, you know, you want to be storing your milk in bottles that the baby's going to be eating. And when you go to store milk, especially if you're going to freeze milk, I would be storing in multiple, like different sizes. The majority of them may be 3 or 4 ounces, but then have a few bags of, 2 ounces or 1 ounce, because once you defrost that frozen pumped milk, you need to use it within 24 hours. And so if the baby's, going through a growth spurt, or the baby is a little bit hungrier that day, they don't need to actually defrost an entire whole bottle that has to now be used in the next 24 hours. You can take out a little 1 ounce and, give a little extra. All right. So there's the answer for Emily. And look, I think Amanda learned something. The ladies learned something tonight. Knowing these things reminds us how well we're doing. Because I think as women, we tend to immediately go to, we are not enough. We are not adequate enough. We're not doing something enough. We're not making enough. We can't provide enough. We're not good enough moms. All these things come up because the desire is so strong through the love for your children to be enough that we're always afraid we're not. And I just really want to emphasize what's normal, so that the majority of you out there are going to say, yeah, okay, I'm normal. I may not be pumping what my sister can pump or what I just read on the internet, but I'm pumping enough because my baby's eating, gaining weight, and doing well and hitting milestones and all those things. And that's enough. And that's enough. And even if I can't pump a lot of extra, I couldn't pump a lot of extra, and I exclusively breastfed both my kids. I couldn't pump a lot of extra because they were eating all the time. It's a good reason.
Yeah, and your body just doesn't respond the same to a pump that it does a nursing baby.
It really doesn't.
That's huge for moms going back to work when you're stressed about leaving baby, you're getting back to work and you probably have a ton of work you're on your plate. And then all of a sudden you're not pumping, and I only pumped maybe 2.5 ounces, 3 ounces total, was awesome. So when you're only pumping half an ounce out of each breast, I think the panic mode hits, and we as moms start freaking out, because how is baby ever going to make it on just half an ounce out of each breast? And your body just doesn't react the same with the pump that it does with nursing babies.
It never responds the same as with the pump. But that being said, there are also things to do and look for in your pump that may be causing it to not function or have your body respond as well to it. There are ways to start training yourself to respond to the pump if the pump is working for you. That means pumps that have, having a pump that has multiple flange sizes included, or, using the right size flange is critically important. Making sure that, this part is fitting you right. If this is not fitting you right, remember, your baby's mouth will open to what it needs to. This is not going to open. So if it's not fitting you, and not everybody fits into the same flange size, that doesn't fit. What you will find is that you're not going to express milk well. And a lot of people are wearing the wrong size flanges. So that's the first thing. And you may need a different flange for each breast. And you may need a flange one size in the first month, and then by the time you hit 4 months, your breasts have completely changed. You need a different size flange, and that's why you're not pumping as much milk. It's actually the pump itself that needs some tweaking, not you. And on top of that, many of the pumps out there that are the most common don't have speed and suction dials on the pump that allow you to stimulate those multiple letdowns of milk the way the baby does. So you get that first letdown, the milk comes, and then it starts to slow down quickly, and it's impossible to stimulate it to go. There's more in there, but you can't get it out. Why is that? Because you don't have the independent speed and suction controls. You may have a dial, okay, to actually stimulate multiple letdowns. And I'm not going to get into how to do multiple letdowns, but I do have videos. Kate will direct you. Kate's in the chat, and Kate is my, assistant here who will direct everybody to the learning how to get multiple letdowns video that's on my Facebook page, right, Kate? Okay, and teaching you how to do that. I've done that many, many times here on these live chats. And we'll also be doing that as one of our little mini teaching sessions with Even Flow Feeding coming up, because it's so critically important. Like, if you know how to do that, I've had moms literally watch the live stream. I'm teaching them how to do it, and then they literally come back, like they go do it right at the live stream, and then they're telling me, they're posting pictures of their milk and saying, I have 50% more milk just from doing what you just said. Okay, so yes, we know the pump does not work like the baby, but the pump can work better than it does. Let's put it that way. That's a good way to word it, I think. And you know, and getting the milk out is so critical to maintaining your supply, especially for all of us here, especially in the United States, where many of us have to go back to work early. And pumping is a part of breastfeeding, and it's a reality for so many of us in our lives. Like, it just is. It's not, and it may be by choice, but it may not be by choice. It's necessity. It's how we put food on the table for our families. And so this is what we need to do. And because of that reality that we live in, we need to like help each other and make things better and easier so that we can do both, that we can go back to work, which we have to, and we can continue to breastfeed long term, which includes pumping and bottle feeding. It's just part of it.
Yeah, and it's, if you were to look at the stats of moms who initiate breastfeeding and then are breastfeeding at 3 months and breastfeeding at 6 months, and you kind of compare that to the amount of moms who have to return back to work, the numbers just plummet after 6 months. And it's because pumping is hard, and when you're going back to work, it takes a lot, and you have to be organized, you have to have all your stuff, you need to think about all these different aspects when it comes to pumping. I know with our products, we really wanted to make something that took an extra step out of the whole process to make it a little bit easier. So moms didn't have to worry about 50 things, you know, the pumps, extra bottles, extra phalanges, the bag, maybe a cooler bag if they're commuting a while. And then also have to remember the bustier bra or the strap on that they're going to put on, and where are they going to pump? So we really wanted to take one of those hurdles out of the equation and help moms be a little bit more efficient when it came to having to sneak away, pump, and being able to still eat lunch and or work at the desk or be on her laptop or read a book, you know, do whatever she needed to do for herself during those breaks.
So awesome. I totally get it. And I think, you know, so many times there are so many companies out there that I can partner with, and ones that will reach out to me all the time, or, you know, talk to me about working with them. And as everybody knows, I don't work with everybody, because I'm really looking for companies like yourself, Amanda, like Rachel, who's here in the chat with us from Rachel's Remedy, and Even Flow Feeding. And I saw Laura from Back Buddy here, and like, these are products that really do all exactly what you just said, which is making life easier and making breastfeeding and parenting, just new parenting in general, easier in some way, answering, having a solution for some of the issues that we will all encounter. So I'm so grateful, and I'm so happy that you did this with us tonight. I know that, first of all, let's give hearts. That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Lots and lots of hearts. We've got prizes to give away, right? And one thing I want you to show them before we actually finish tonight, I want you to show them the difference between, and I thought this was one of the best features and differences beyond just the fact that you can breastfeed and pump at the same time, but the fact that the way that the opening is on your tank, the way that it holds the bottle, and that you don't see holes through the tank. Just explain that to them a little bit so they get it.
Okay. Yeah. The main difference that you will find when you're going out there and looking for pumping, hands-free pumping garments, everything on the market will have a hole, meaning you have to possibly move your breast tissue around to fit the hole if your nipples don't line up, and which is fine. But Rumina is different. So I was trying to stand up, but sorry. The difference between Rumina products is we don't have holes. How we hold the flange is with layers. So you'll see that there's 3 layers here, and I'm hoping, moms, I'll try to turn it. 3 layers here that open up to where you put the flange in. But what that also allows you to do is wear the tank top all day because you don't have a hole there. There's no seam there rubbing on a sensitive part of the breast. There's no possibility of you kind of showing through. You can just wear the product. And when you're ready to pump, I'm going to try to stand up and move this with me.
And I made your screen big so they can see you while you're doing this. So go ahead.
You just drop down the thing and then you fold back the layers. So this allows you to also position the flange to your unique nipple location. And what that means is, moms, you know what your body looked like prior to baby, and after you got engorged, it could have looked completely different. Your nipples sometimes are all over the place. And to be able to, going back to Shari, what Shari said is having the pump work for you means you're able to position it freely to wherever your unique nipple location is. So you're not moving that breast tissue around, you're positioning it to where it's comfortable, it's secure, you can feel confident that it's going to be supportive enough all day or to wear during pumping sessions. 5 ounces, 1 ounce, half an ounce, it's going to hold securely. But really, it's that unique layer design that you can wear the products all day, go to work. This is the tank. Again, that's a double pumping. And when you can also nurse and pump in them at the same time. So moms who are wanting to work on that supply, you can pump on one side and then you just pull down to nurse on the other. Now, our bras, Shari has a different bra than I have here, but all of them are going to have that no hole design. So she has the relaxed. This is our new seamless design.
That looks so comfortable.
Big difference is, it's amazing. It has not released yet. March 1st should be the release date for this bra. But it has your full drop-down cups to nurse, so your standard nursing. But again, it's no holes. So every pumping garment on the market, when you lift this up, you're going to see a hole here. It's our layers. So you just lift up further, you find the hole, and you insert the pump in from there. And it really holds hands-free. This strap allows you to adjust the tension and the support, and you really just position it freely to your unique nipple location. So the seamless bra is really exciting. It's going to be a new product for us, and it's really going to be a lot of great response, I think, from moms. I'm not doing a good job putting it in right now.
It's easier when you do it on yourself.
It's a lot different, but
yeah.
There we go. And then her little chicken cutlet's in the way. Sorry, we had to deflate her a little bit, but that allows you to position freely. And again, if you want more support, you lift up. If you want less support, you pull down. But it holds hands-free, and it's a seamless design.
People are asking if it's a supportive bra, and I'm seeing the band there looks very comfortable, and the fabric too. Really what it comes down to with and these bras, I mean, I have some of them here in my hands, especially the seamless. I love that one. It really comes down to getting it fit properly for you too. A lot of support has to do with having the right fit.
And you had mentioned also your body will go through changes. When you're newly postpartum, your band size is going to still be large, and you may be fully engorged. You may have gone up a cup size or two. Might not be the same 6 weeks, 4 months, 6 months down the road when your band size has gone back down. Maybe you've dropped down a cup or two. But your body's going to go through those changes, and you got to kind of be able to go and get measured and take your measurements right after having baby, so you know which bra to get. You don't want anything too tight that can cause issues like clogged ducts. And then you don't want anything too loose when you are further down the road, because you're not going to have a supportive pump there holding in place like it needs to be for that suction. So your body will go through those changes.
That's a good point. Like, to really keep the pump suction to the breast and holding it tight, holding it up as the bottle starts to fill, getting a good seal. You really do need it to be pretty secure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now we're going to be giving away four tanks tonight for the giveaway.
4 pump and nurse sets, so they get. There's going to be
even better.
A tank and a racer back bra. I don't have this bra yet.
Is that the
it
one
will as soon as I get my hands on it, moms. We'll give them away, but
that's not what I have here, right? The racer. This is not what the one I'm.
You do.
Okay, let me show them the racer back bra. Okay, so this is the racer back, and what that means is, and this mannequin's a little bit, this bra's a little big for this mannequin. I have a large bra on an extra small mannequin, but there you can see the racer back. Okay.
Yep.
So,
and it's the crossover design. So as opposed to like the seamless bra that is going to have a drop down cup and everything, the crossover bra is really great for newly postpartum moms. It's great for hands-free. She can just pull aside that top to nurse. You can nurse and pump in all of our products. You can do both at the same time. So we'll give away 4 sets. So 1 tank and 1 racer back bra. We'll get 4 of those.
So generous. Thank you so much. I'm so excited for everybody. And for everybody else, we have a discount code that Amanda set up for us. Joe's going to pin it right now into the chat room so that you guys can get your you can get the bra even if you didn't win. Okay, you still get, what's the discount, Amanda?
20% off all of our products.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, great. So Joe's, I lost my screen again, so I'm hoping that we can see it here, that it's being pinned. Okay, I know he's taking care of it. Okay, let me get back into my screen here. This iPad just keeps dying on me. And the kids stole my
Dana asked real quick, are these good for large busted moms? We are definitely coming out with the seamless bra. Will go all the way up to a 42 and go down to a F cup size. So we will come out with the tanks that will also be larger band and larger cup sizes too. So we are developing those products for larger busted moms. So look for those, definitely.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Oh, what a great night. Let's get some hearts for all these amazing prizes, for the discount code for everybody to be able to get their tanks. To everybody in the chat room for a wonderful, wonderful session. I know sometimes these things just take on a life of their own, and the topics come up, and I hope this was super helpful for you as always. I'm so grateful, Amanda, for you doing this with us tonight. I hope you enjoyed it. We enjoyed having you, and we want to have you back again. But we'll be seeing a lot more from Rumina as we go through the year. We're going to be doing some great stuff this whole entire year, live chats and events. We'll be doing all the baby shows together. So there's a lot of really great stuff coming up. And for any of you guys who haven't had enough for the weekend, please don't forget that I'm doing a live stream on Sunday night, this Sunday night at 9 p.m. with our partners from Lalaboo, okay? And we're going to be doing an entire conversation about baby wearing. I don't know. I know you guys, a lot of you wear babies. And if you are baby aware, or if you're thinking about it, or if you are planning to baby wear, you don't want to miss that live stream this Sunday night. I'm counting on all the baby wearing moms to join me in the chat, because they are such experts when it comes to like which carriers they love. And, you know, we're going to be talking about everything. I'm going to count on all of you guys in the chat to give me suggestions and give moms suggestions on the ones that you love and what you're doing. And I'm going to be talking more about the benefits to you and your baby, because there are so many benefits, some that you know, and I'm sure some you'll be surprised to hear. But we'll be doing that Sunday night, same time, 9 o'clock, right here on my Facebook wall. And I'm going to take a Saturday night off that I haven't done in a while. So what? I'm off on Saturday. Joe goes, woohoo! All right, so we're going to say goodnight to everybody.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much, moms, for being patient, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We love you. All right, everybody. Good night. Have a wonderful weekend. I'll see you on Sunday night. Make sure to enter the giveaway that you are liking or loving this post, that you're putting your comments here, that you're, you know, share it with your friends if you want to. This is all really great information. And, you know, we will be announcing the winners probably tomorrow or Sunday morning. Okay, we'll give some people some chances to watch the replays. We always have compassion for any mamas who couldn't make it live, because, you know, stuff happens. Babies happen, things happen, and so we always give that opportunity to everybody, okay? So good night, everyone. Tons of hearts as we leave the room. Lots and lots of hearts, lots and lots of love, and we'll see you soon. Good night, everybody. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.